Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Shelbyville NOW Sports Talk Live. I have the regular gang with us today. We got Dr. Garrett, Kenny Parker, Bill Anderson. I'm David Thomas. We're here to talk about local sports and talk about NFL, the playoffs, and what's going on. Guys, let's start off by talking about our county basketball teams. I know you guys have been out and about going to some games. Bill, what kind of report you got for us? What have we done the last week?
I went to the Shelbyville game last night against Coffee County, and they're 26-1. They beat the girls 61-28. But Coffee County is really good.
Yeah, I watched Tuesday. I went and watched Shelbyville play Franklin County.
Yeah,
and then last night I was at Cascade Community.
Cascade boys still rolling along pretty
Cascade boys
good.
played. The community was played very well last night.
they
Shot
did.
the ball good.
They did.
Was in the ball game. I mean, it was 10-point ball game, pretty much the whole game till right at the end. And I think Cascade.
Rodney gets those boys play hard.
They played hard. They
play
played
hard.
well. They played great atmosphere. You know, in the old Cascade community games, you see a lot of it's heated. Well,
Yeah.
It didn't get heated that much last night. Fan base was good, and it was just a good atmosphere. Community girls shot the lights out of the ball.
Yeah, I
When
hear
they get
do.
hot,
I'm
you
telling
better look
you.
out.
They were shooting 3-pointers, and they were going inside. They looked pretty good. Last
Score 84 points. You're shooting pretty good. It's 84-46.
night. I'm telling you, they were pretty good. And I thought the Cascade girls, to be so young and inexperienced, fought hard and had some good moments. They're just, we made a comment early when we were talking about football. When you're playing freshmen and sophomores, don't think you're gonna win.
Yeah.
You're not. I told
Right.
you the bad thing about playing freshmen and sophomores is you're playing freshmen and sophomores. The good thing is, in 2 years they're going to be juniors and seniors, and then you're going to start winning those games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. Those girls be good when they're
Yeah,
seniors.
they just got to stay together and keep working together and get behind the program and really emphasize the positives and try to brush off the negatives. But they're going to be okay. And on the other side, community, they're playing 5 seniors. I mean, they're a senior laden team. I thought the Shelbyville girls the other night when I saw them play Franklin County played hard, and the boys are, man, they're athletic as all get out.
That did surprise me. They lost 61-31, but I was surprised how athletic the Shelbyville boys
They
were.
are athletic. I mean, they've got some stuff. They don't have it together.
Right.
They're not playing good ball together. They're athletic as
And Coffee County last night went to a zone defense at one point, which really made Shelbyville struggle because they can't shoot it from the outside because they were trying to prevent them from driving the lane. But when you go zone, you got to have somebody that can spot up and shoot it to bust the zone.
You gotta have a zone, but
And if you don't have a zone buster,
Yeah.
you're in trouble.
and they really don't have a big man.
No, they don't
They don't
have
have a big man. Shelbyville girls don't have a big girl either.
No.
And at that level, you gotta have some. You gotta have an advantage somewhere. You either gotta be able to shoot it well, or you gotta have some big stuff inside. And as of right now, Shelbyville doesn't have either one.
typically
of those.
when you see that type of lineup, you see a lot of presses. You've
Mhm.
got athletic guys that can move, aren't big. They gotta create offense off their steals, and
Mhm.
Where did Coach Insel make a living?
that was it.
Pressing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His girls were in better shape than you were. And and I'm telling you, he would wear on you. Over time, it would take its toll.
I saw a game back in the day, Bill. I don't know if you remember this or not, but it was in the Angela Moorhead days. We got the tip off and scored. We came into a full court press. I think we were playing Coffee County at the time, and they didn't get across half court and scores 21-0
Before they ever crossed.
before they
half
ever
court.
crossed half court.
I'd been
Really?
there, seen those
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, it was.
You all remember a
unbelievable.
girls player named Lisa Leslie.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
boy.
She played right up here at Central High School in that when Tiffany Wilson
Yeah.
was here in that Christmas tournament.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the Shelbyville girls wore Lisa Leslie and those California
I'm telling
girls
you.
out.
I know.
Because I think in California they only played half court basketball maybe or something. I think in California it was different. It was like a different style than here. They couldn't run the floor with our girls. And that 2-2-1 press, it was turnover, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. And Lisa Leslie, a professional player at 6'5". There was another girl 6'5". Didn't matter.
And you sit here talking about what you're saying and what you're saying. If you're not very good offensively, you better be good defensively. Hey,
Yeah.
you don't have to be talented and skilled to play defense. You got to have this to play defense.
Right.
Yeah.
I know Coach Insel had somebody that sat with a book and counted the amount of deflected passes and just the amount of effort moves toward defending the ball, and he equated it to scores.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many points did how many deflected passes equaled points?
Mm-hmm.
And their goal, they had a goal to deflect a certain amount of passes in a game.
Right.
I mean, that's getting down to the details right there.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do that when you just can't come and wear somebody out on the half court.
Exactly.
You got to have somebody that, if you're athletic and he just figured it out every year. It was a different team and he figured it out. And I think with the boys, the Shelbyville boys, like you were talking about, if you're athletic, maybe they can get it together and get some of this defense ramped up and at least contest some of these teams coming in here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I hadn't seen them play.
Got to shoot it better.
Gotta shoot it better.
Gotta shoot.
We
Look
got
at,
some big years coming. Harris
Yeah.
Middle School, both girls and
Yeah,
boys
boy.
went deep in their tournament. So
and I think their girls were young too. I think Harris's girls were young.
Well, how are the crowds have been? It
Crowd
seems
last night
they've
was
been
really good. I
Yeah,
thought.
the crowded community was awesome.
standing room only last night.
Awesome last night.
Well, speaking
Uh,
of crowds, we need to pack the house out of Central
Yeah,
on
Tuesday
the
night.
31st on
Yep.
Tuesday
Yeah.
night.
Tuesday night,
4:30 is the
4:30 is the spaghetti
spaghetti
supper.
supper, and it's coaches versus cancer,
Mhm.
and that is a special event. The spaghetti supper goes from 4:30 to 6:30, and the game starts at 6. So everybody get out for that. You guys have been coming to the games, and this is a very special night. So
Yeah, it's
everybody
a big night.
that's available and can pack the house, bring it on.
Let's talk about Webb a minute.
Yeah, let's do.
Webb had the girls 98, Columbia Academy 32. They're
Wow.
putting it on people.
Yeah.
But the boys at Webb pulled off an upset because I think Columbia Academy was ranked 7th in the mid-state, maybe. But anyway, they won 92-89 last night. That was a big win for the Webb boys. And it seemed like they started slow, but now they're 13-10. And they were, I think, at one point, they've won 3 or 4 in a row. The girls are 21-4.
You can't let that schedule, that one-loss record. They started playing stuff.
Yeah.
They were playing very competitive teams early because your first quarter stuff doesn't matter, scores and all. It's the fourth quarter, and I think that's what they've built to.
I just wonder if Webb's girls don't have a shot at winning the state this year.
Well, sure, they won it last year.
I think they might just do it.
Gosh,
Which classification is that now?
it's a small school. Excuse me. I think there's 3 classifications in the private. I know they are
Right.
in football. I'm not sure if it's the same way, but they're small school. But they're for real.
Oh, yeah.
They could probably win the big school also.
And they scored over 100 in the game before.
I don't
this
know.
week.
I think they got 3 or 4 D1 girls going to.
Wow.
And the girl that was the MVP of the state last year was just a freshman.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. That's
Wow.
unreal.
Yeah, also today we got the elementary basketball tournament.
Yeah.
You
Where's
can see
it taking place?
Central.
Harris?
Central.
Central. At Central.
You could see the future of Bedford County basketball.
What time does
right
that
there.
start?
Started at 8 o'clock.
Oh, it's already
Last
going.
game's at 3. Championships at 3.
So it's going right now. Some of you might be out there now.
Yes.
So we've got basketball season headed into tournament time. Are we about halfway through the district schedules now?
I
Or
think you're
regional
starting.
schedules.
I think you're starting to see play. Just when you said they play Warren County, Central plays Warren County Tuesday night. They've already played them once.
Once, yeah.
So they're
Okay.
playing.
They're rolling back around the second time.
Yeah,
now,
last
so.
night Community Cascade had a
That
second
was their
time.
that was their second time to meet. So yeah, they're on the downhill side of the regular season.
All right, then. Well, we've got the tournaments to look forward to, and we want to wish all of our teams good luck for the rest of the part of this season coming up, and get out and support them. All right, guys. Let's shift gears and let's start talking about our NFL playoffs.
Let's hit,
We had our
let's hit the
picking-
college football basketball today. Big game up in
Okay, all
Knoxville
right,
today.
college-
Big game in
college
Knoxville
basketball.
today.
Yeah, that's
You
the-
got number 10 Texas in Knoxville to play number 4 Tennessee. And this is where Rick Barnes coached for years at Texas.
Right.
Last year they played, it was 52-50, and they missed a 3, Tennessee did, at the buzzer and lost by 2. Big game in Knoxville today. and the Vols will be wearing their throwback uniforms with the cursive writing that they've not worn since Ray Mears was coach.
Wow, back in the 70s.
Right, and I think actually the design of the uniforms goes back to the 30s and 40s.
Is it cursive because they're just now understanding what it used to say?
They may not be able to read it.
Can I
I think it's
read
going to be
cursive?
electric in Knoxville today. I think it's going to be a full house, big crowd.
I'm sure it will be.
And this is the Big 12 SEC Challenge too.
Okay, so they got that going on. They pair up.
Everywhere.
all
Kentucky's at home. And,
So
Tennessee's at
let's
home.
talk about Alabama, Kenny. Your Alabama's doing pretty good.
Evidently they are. I hadn't kept up with them. I know they're number 2 in the nation, and that's about all I know. They had to come from behind. They had to come from behind to beat Mississippi State the other night.
Now,
But
2 months ago, you was yelling "Roll Tide." Now, what's up?
Yeah, what happened?
I'm trying to find bus drivers.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay.
I'm definitely not watching football. You seen my picks.
the kid on Alabama who's the best player in the SEC. It's from Nashville.
Yeah, they've got a freshman that came from one of the schools in Sumner County. Is lighting it up.
Really?
Okay.
He reminds me of that kid at Auburn last year that went so high in the draft. I mean, he's athletic, 6'6", 6'7", can shoot the basketball. And the thing about Alabama is they've got about 8 guys like that are long and athletic and can really shoot it. Alabama's going to be a tough out. Alabama may win the whole thing in basketball.
I don't know.
SEC for sure. Because I'd have them win Tennessee probably too.
Tennessee's pretty good too. I mean,
They are.
You know, in the past, everybody made fun of SEC basketball. They've upped their
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
last few
There's
years.
no doubt.
Texas A&M isn't any joke either.
Yeah,
Texas
I mean,
A&M's
and
got a
you
good
got,
team.
I'm sure Auburn with Pearl down there can beat
Absolutely.
you anytime.
And Calipari's got Kentucky rolling
Yeah,
here all of a sudden.
you
It just
know.
took a while.
How about MTSU girls?
Yeah.
Still rolling.
Yeah.
Rick Insell is
15 in a row?
ESPN Coach of the Week.
Yeah.
Yep.
15 in
They
a
broke
row.
the top 25 this
Yeah,
week.
they
I think
did.
they're 23.
And
the
they're
boys
looking
are
at
not bad
hosting.
either.
They're looking at hosting a regional SEC tournament.
Really?
Yes. Not SEC. Regional NCAA tournament.
NCAA?
Yeah. The problem would be with the state championship. I saw this
Mhm.
discussion on a forum online. They were talking about it, and that would probably interfere with TSSAA state tournament. But they were talking about there's a possibility, and they would just figure it out.
Mhm.
Anxious to see how that comes out.
Cool.
But,
Be neat.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw NCAA tournament there at MTSU years ago. Matter of fact, Magic Johnson was playing for Michigan State, and Tennessee played Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And at a big regional there.
that goes way back,
It
Kenny.
was
I
way
know,
back.
telling his age right
Way
there.
back.
It's hard to believe that gymnasium is old as it is.
It is. I mean,
it's,
when it was first built, it was the real deal.
yeah, it was.
I mean, when you had Michigan State there with they were pretty good, and then Tennessee with Notre Dame had a Kelly Trapuka or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
Kelly Tribute.
That place was packed. But
That's back when Dale Ellis was
Mhm.
playing for
The
Tennessee.
most packed I remember going to one was when it was NIT. They played Tennessee and MTSU beat them.
Yeah.
Don DeVoe was the coach. I remember that.
Yeah.
That place where it was packed.
All right, guys, now let's shift to NFL. We're going to go over this record so far, Kenny. You want me to?
yeah,
Give your
well,
name or
no,
just-
for
okay.
Kenny, NFL stands for not for long.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Please, let's
Or
see
not
who's
for
on
losing.
top.
Okay, this is our picking contest that we started back when the playoffs started. So we've picked wins and losses. Okay, not the spread, just wins and losses. And so far, Dr. G, 9-1. Good job. You're in the lead.
Again, who is
Again.
in the lead?
I tell you,
I believe you
College.
were. I believe you took the
Y'all-
trophy home.
you
Are
wasn't
y'all
for the
gonna
league.
kick me off
You
the show if I win?
no,
Probably.
no,
Kenny's already made up. No, he
no. Job security.
job security. Okay. I'm at 8-2. Kenny Parker. Oh, wait a minute. You're not next. Bill Anderson.
Oh.
You're 7-3, and Kenny Parker is 6-4. Well, you got 6 right. That's pretty good.
Well, somebody's got to dig ditches.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody gets to redeem
I
themselves.
told you the reason y'all are so good is you're waiting to see who I pick, and you're picking against me.
David, which two did you lose? Did you lose one last week? Bills?
I won I lost one the first week, and I lost one this past week. I was picking. Let's see. I picked Kansas City. I picked Buffalo. I lost the Buffalo game, and you just nailed it this past week.
Mhm.
All right, so we've got two games: AFC Championship, NFC Championship. We got Philadelphia playing San Fran.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to have to make our picks on that one. I'm going to start with you because we got to see what you pick first.
So we can go the other way.
Yeah.
Be a good ball game. I think Philadelphia win.
Okay, so Kenny Parker is going to say Philadelphia. Bill?
I'm going to say Philadelphia, too. I think if there's one weakness to San Francisco, it's the secondary because you can throw the ball on them.
Right.
Well,
Dallas only had the one receiver. This time you got A.J. Brown. You got the kid from Alabama.
I'll tell you another thing that could very well be going against San Francisco is they got a lot of coaches interviewing for
They do.
head coaches. I know their defensive coordinator. That was a big thing last week. They started out slow, and his name is supposedly the lead candidate for the Houston Texans and Denver Broncos. So that could.
And I do think this time, as well as Purdy's played, he's still a 7th round
Oh,
pick.
yes.
He's on the road against Philadelphia, who's got a really good defense.
Mm-hmm.
And this may be the time where you see.
So you're starting to doubt him a little bit right here?
And I'm not doubting him. I'm just saying that I
Okay.
think this is going to be a tough
Big
place
game,
for him
yes.
in a tough environment, and it might be time for him to maybe make the mistake or two he hadn't made.
Yeah.
I don't think this
act
game's
like
gonna-
a freshman.
I don't think the game's going to be close.
I'm going with
Okay.
the Eagles. I
Okay.
think they're tough. They look good.
Got a chance now.
You do.
It's
Well,
a big
I'm
thing
going with
when
the
I get-
Eagles. They're my team, and I think they're going all the way.
You know,
They're
only,
tight end.
only
as a
games I won
beast.
last week when we all picked the same team, so I got a chance.
You got a chance. All right. Okay, then we've got Kansas City, Cincinnati.
Oh gosh.
All right, so Bill, I'm going to start with you this time. In the AFC, Kansas City versus Cincinnati. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Joe Burrow, or is it going to be Mr. Mahomes?
I think the Bengals have made an error in a lot of the trash talking I've heard this week, calling it
Okay.
Burrowhead. There's been a lot of talk coming out.
Well, I'll tell you that if you go back and look at their last 5 games, there's a reason they're calling
Well,
that Burrow.
in the last 3 with Mahomes the quarterback, he's 3-0. Burrow is. But in all 3 of those games, they've won by 3 points every time. It's not like it's a 3-point game all 3 times.
Now, yesterday, Kelsey was questionable. You still.
Let me say this about Mahomes last week. That was a Steve McNair, Brett Favre effort after you get your ankle like that.
Yeah.
That guy's he got back out there and played.
You know, a lot of people say he's a showboat and this kind of stuff. When you get out there and play under the paint, the game means something to you.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It means something to you. You want to play. His backup came in and went 98 yards for a touchdown, but he wants to play.
When he takes off running, it's because he has to,
Mm-hmm.
and he's still looking until he crosses that line of scrimmage, somebody to get that ball to down the field.
I don't know that I've ever
Always.
seen a quarterback that can throw it just as well on
I
his
know,
left hand as he
I
can
know,
his right.
I
It doesn't
know.
matter which hand it is.
I know.
He throws a great ball with his left hand.
They call that a shortstop quarterback, and they're teaching that everywhere now.
Really?
You know how a shortstop throws a
Yeah.
ball to first
Yeah.
or second and all that. It's out there. You watch. It's coming along, and he may be the ones that's
Well, he's changed the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love the Bengals. I love Joe Burrow. The receivers are great.
So
The
is it,
defense is
who's
good.
your official pick?
Yeah.
I'm taking Kansas City. I mean, that was who I had originally.
I knew
All
that
my
was
teams
coming.
left
I
is
knew
Kansas
that was
City.
All right. Okay. All right, Kenny.
You know, Cincy ran the ball well last week
Yeah, they did.
with 3 starting offensive linemen out of the game.
Yeah.
A guard and both tackles.
Yes. Will they be able to do that against Kansas City's defense?
Yeah.
But Burrows is a quarterback,
Okay.
and they've got pretty good receivers. I think I'm gonna go with Cincinnati.
You're going with Cincinnati. Okay.
I'm going with Cincinnati, too.
Okay.
Yes. There's a chance. I got a chance.
I got a
I'm
chance.
y'all
You're 9-1, buddy. I got a
If
chance.
you look, Cincinnati won that game the other day. Debo Samuel did not get the ball in his hands very much at all. You got to think that they get him the ball and more involved.
You mean Jamar Chase?
No.
Chase?
I mean,
I mean Chase. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Excuse me. And that was a terrible call when he was catching the ball in the back of the end zone, and they called him out of bounds.
You know what they did?
Yeah.
They called him out of bounds because he didn't get control of the ball
That's what
till
they
he was
said.
out
But
of
the
bounds.
ruling on the field was touchdown.
Yeah,
And
but
they
they have to have
go back and
complete
review it and
evidence.
took it
No,
out.
no,
That was
no,
not really good.
Every touchdown is reviewed.
Well, that was terrible.
I thought it was a good call.
So I
The
said,
worst call of the whole day was, and I was telling y'all before airs, you can go back to the Josh Dobbs play they did on GoTitans.com, the scoop and score against Dallas. The exact same play with Mr. Allen. In fact, he did it twice, and it was called a fumble and replay overturned it. I do think at times, as we've discussed, when these games start to get out of hand, you just have to sit and wonder if we're not trying to keep the game closer.
Oh, I don't disagree with that, but here's the thing with officiating right now in these games is you don't have crews that are used to working with each other.
that's true.
These crews are
Well, I'm saying the officials got the call right at the time. It was New York that's missed it. That's where I'm a little upset. I mean, how do you overturn something? It needs to be an egregious error that's obvious.
That game was fixing to get out of hand.
Yes, it was. It was fixing to get out of hand quickly.
Quick. All right, so I'm going with Cincinnati on that. So you're out on a limb right there. You're trying to save your
you know me
safety.
taking a bubble bath with
all right.
5 men playing.
You don't think that ankle is going to hurt
Games in
him?
Arrowhead. No, I do not. I like what Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator, said about Patrick Mahomes. He goes, whatever he's taking, I want some of it. Because they were talking about how good he looked in practice, not even walking with a limp.
I told you he's got some at Tennessee walking horse wrap on him. Yeah.
All right.
Gotta respect what he did, though.
Hey, no doubt. But that don't mean I'm gonna take him over Burrow.
Neither.
I love Burrow too.
I bet Burrow still got another cigar
I think that's
that he hadn't lit.
I think he's probably got two he hadn't lit.
But I go back to home field advantage a little bit too. Arrowhead's a tough place to play. And I do hope the NFL does not want to do this neutral site game thing. That's awful. There's a reason for the regular season. There's a reason you earned the right to play at home.
You earn the right to play at home. You
If we're not
earn
gonna
the
do that-
right to play it. The only reason they went to the neutral with if it had been Kansas City and Buffalo is
Well, the rumor was that the fear was they would like to do that. And then I'm afraid they would then take the game eventually over to London for TV ratings or something. And that's the regular season has to matter or why play it?
I agree.
Well, yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm just going to get off of football for a second. I want to throw something at you guys, and this is crazy. For a number of years, I've done this, and last night I was just skimming through the channels late at night, and I get over to one of the ESPN channels, one of the sports channels. I think it was ESPN2 or something like that. I'm sitting there watching poker. Let me ask you a question: Is poker a sport?
No.
No.
Okay. Why do they
No.
have that on there? Please, somebody explain that to me.
Because there's people that like to play it.
Yeah.
There's people that like
Okay.
to play it, and it's TV ratings. And the people that like to play it probably want to better their skills.
Yeah.
So they try to see what others are doing in situations. And
That's your
Parkerism.
answer. That's Parkerism. Money? Okay.
We're going to have to
Watch the
find you
watch.
something to do if you're watching poker.
I know. It's terrible. I was looking, so I ended up going to the NFL channel and looking at a run game from like 6 years ago. I mean, that's boredom. That's called can't sleep, you know.
Yeah.
But I've always wondered that, and I just want to get y'all's opinion
but
on that.
it's not just late at night. It's
Right.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. World
is a
Series of
big
Poker is
deal.
a big deal.
It's a big deal.
I almost got into a fist fight a couple months ago with a buddy of mine. He told me that golf was not a sport. He said golf is just a game. He
He
said
needs
if
to
an
play
old
it.
man can play it, it's not a sport. He was trying to make fun of me. Huh?
Hey, if he needs to try to play it.
I know. No, he don't play. He plays disc golf. I call it frisbee golf.
That's a sport too.
I know. But he said that's a real sport. He said your hitting a little ball game is a game. It's not a sport. So that's an argument I've heard. Guys, we're grasping for straws at this point. What else is going on in the world of sports in the county? I know we've got baseball.
We've got a lot of. Let's see. I have a softball meeting tomorrow. I think in 2 weeks, the actual middle school's already started practicing baseball,
Right.
softball.
Yeah.
I think high schools can start I believe it's the 13th, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow. So that's starting to kick up. If you go around, you'll see lights on
Yeah.
at night now, and getting
We got
geared up
swim
for
too.
that.
Right.
Last year we developed a swim team. This is their second
Right.
year. We've got a girl at Central that is qualified for the state. I believe her name is Mallory. They're doing really well.
Yeah, I know the Shelbyville Sharks competitive team that goes through they've had that program for a good while now. And it's a big thing. I mean, that's a big thing for those guys. They're always reaching out to me, wanting me to post something that they've done, and it's a good thing for kids to do. And back to baseball. So when does that competition, the swimming?
I think it's today.
Right.
They have a competition today.
Okay, baseball season starts what, around February 10th, 12th, somewhere around in there?
The 13th
The
is when
13th?
they can actually
Okay.
start practicing baseball. All of them start the same day.
Okay.
Baseball, softball. There's a kickoff day, and I'm pretty sure it's Monday week.
Okay, so when does the season actually start? It's
You have 3 weeks after that. So
okay. So back to March.
First of March.
I know.
First of March, yeah.
I have believe it or not, I believe it's the 18th. I've scheduled a middle school jamboree, like scrimmage days, and then the following week, the 25th, high school play day, and then their season, if it was the 25th, then that'd be 26th, 27th is when their season starts.
You
So
better watch out for
it's-
Cascade. Wait, we've had some kids move here. I know
Cascades baseball.
baseball,
Yeah,
and
The
they're really
pitching's
good.
supposed to be really good. Isn't it?
Well, and I'll tell you about the Cascade baseball coach. He came to me yesterday, and I gave him his 2C form to go get his bus license.
He's been a great asset to that program.
He
Good
seems to be a super good guy. But what I had to get on the bus to go, but what little I got to talk to him, he seemed to be a super good guy.
Comment on one thing I saw last night. I got to talk to Coach Dryden, football coach at Central. He's sitting on the bench for the boys basketball program helping coach. I think that's a great thing to have your
Sure.
football coach active with your basketball
Oh,
coach. When we go back, Coach Thaxton was here all those years, whether it was Doug Dodge or Barry Wortman, everybody working together.
Yeah,
And I
okay.
think sometimes these coaches encourage kids just play one sport. And that really, we need kids playing every
Hey,
sport.
I remember my days at Central with Coach Dodge and Coach Workman,
Right.
and we had the other guy that we got along so well. I mean, we got along well. I want to put out a kudo to community last night. I thought in between the boys' game and the girls' game, they introduced the student and the parents of everybody that scored over a 20 on their ACT score.
Wow.
Oh, that's
21.
nice.
awesome.
That's
Was
really
it
nice.
21?
21.
And
44 of them.
there were quite a few of them, and the officials did great. I mean, they weren't in that hurry up mode. Introduced. That's the first time I've seen that happen, and I
That's great.
thought that was
Yeah.
pretty good to give those students recognition, because that's what school's about.
That's
Did
exactly
you see
right.
how many student athletes there were?
Well,
A lot of student athletes.
the only ones that I really noticed were the girls that were in their basketball
Yeah.
uniforms and the boys. I wish if it had been a soccer player or a baseball player, they'd have let them been in their athletic uniform, so you could have
Yeah.
seen that also.
The other
But-
thing they starting up right, soccer, boys soccer.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
Shelbyville Central went to the state tournament. They got a
Mhm.
great coach. Fantastic
Yeah, he's a good
coach.
guy. Coach Friz is a good guy. But yeah, I thought that was really good.
That is good. They need that recognition.
Sure, they do.
Well, guys, let's wind this up. Thanks for watching. We'll be back
We
next
didn't get
week.
any feedback today.
Yeah, we had Jeremy Bankson came in
Well,
here. He said
we need to-
golf is one of the best sports. He needs to change that and say it is the best sport. But he's saying it's a sport. Okay.
He's the coach out at Cascade.
Right.
They've had a lot of great success.
They have had. We need to get more of our feedback. Well, I love that feedback.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to put some questions out to the people out there watching.
Yeah.
And I know you got somebody watching today.
Well, yeah,
Aaron,
my
maybe he's
son.
on there.
My son's back.
Yeah. We're gonna have to
he'll
have
be
him
down
on.
until somewhere around April. He's got to go back the week before the draft. He said so.
Well,
It's interesting to see what happens there in Rogers, won't it?
Well, there's a lot going on. You don't know. He don't know.
and things happening with the Titans between now and draft day.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting. So we're gonna have
There's a
some
chance
guests.
you might see Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. We'll see. There's a chance.
Is that a prediction?
I just think there's a really good
Okay.
chance.
Well, you're saying that because there's two things that in the last week with Rodgers to the Jets, his old offensive coordinator, quarterback coach that was with
The Broncos.
the
head coach,
Broncos is going to take the offensive coordinator's job with the Jets. And Joe Namath came out the other day and said if Rodgers came to the Jets, that he would take his jersey number out of retirement and let Rodgers wear it while he was a Jet.
Folks,
Oh,
the
really?
Jets are ready to win. You give them a
Yeah.
quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, and automatically they're going to be a playoff team because they got the defense and they've got the offense.
Yeah.
You know, the other local that we haven't said anything about that's important, and sometimes we forget about in local sports, is the cheerleaders.
Oh yeah.
Think about those cheerleaders have gone through all the football season, all the basketball season.
Right.
Some of those parents probably tired at this point. And they do a good job, and probably we don't give them
Yeah.
enough.
Right.
And another one that I agree, we're saying wrestling.
Yeah.
Our wrestling, there's kids wrestling right now that are doing pretty good. I think this is the first year for community to have wrestling. I know we've had a bus go Central's wrestling quite a bit, Cascades quite a bit. I only get it when I get to read it in the Times Gazette, but that's what I always liked about wrestling is you can't blame anybody.
Yeah.
You can't blame anybody. It's all you.
And a team sport.
It's not. It's all you. And wrestling builds character.
Yeah, it does.
It builds character. It's sort of like, and we used to do this, and we used to have these team sports, skeet shooting. We used to have, Central had a skeet team, and
Very good one.
I'll tell you what, that is a sport that teaches discipline. That is a very disciplined sport. It's an expensive sport, but it's a disciplined sport.
And actually, it's like that team wound up being a Bedford County team because they took kids from Cascade and Community and Central, all
And
three
went-
on the
and
team.
went
And
nationals.
they went to nationals with
Went
it.
nationals.
Sure did.
Dale coached.
Oh,
Dale helped
really?
coach that.
Richard Smith.
They were, yeah, we got there's a lot of things that are in the shadows
Yeah.
that we don't, like Dr.
Yeah.
G was talking about, the cheerleaders that we're at the ball game.
Right.
We know they're there. We're focusing out here. We don't see them much.
Right. Unless you're involved in it,
Sure.
you're not focused on it. And the guys out there playing and the girls out there playing have the spotlights on them. And then these sports, the other sports that we were talking about, you don't hear about them much
And
because
our
it's going
bands,
to bring a lot of.
our bands.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
so
we
there's
don't,
a whole lot of moving parts in our program, in our sports program here in Bedford County. We just don't hear about a lot.
Mhm.
So they all need our support.
And it was a great day for education. Tuesday, we got
Mhm.
funded
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
for new elementary.
elementary,
school.
yeah,
Exciting
yeah.
week.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back next week, hopefully with this same lineup, and we'll be making our Super Bowl picks next week.
And we'll have a week
and
off
then
from
we'll
the Super
be
Bowl now.
and we'll be
have a week
seeing
off
how-
in terms of Super Bowls in 2 weeks from this.
how Kenny Parker is faring next week on this.
I think I'm going to do good.
You think you're going to
Yeah,
do
Dr.
good?
Garrett even went out on a limb and She upped her ante today. She picked same thing
Guys,
I
this is-
did.
No, I'm the
Bad for
only
her.
one that went outside the box today. Was me.
We'll see. We'll see.
Here
It's
you
all right.
are. You're saying that last week. You're the one gouging me.
I want you to go. I want you to go. I
They
want you to
want-
go. I
wanted
want
me
you
to
to
go
take
to
I
the
want you to take the
Jaguars.
Jaguars. Take the
And
Jags.
you know, because you gouged me with that, what were you 7-3 and I 6-4?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because of that side hole I got in the side right here.
Well, you wanted to
Stick
do
to
it.
the
You just
sword.
needed a little prod, and that's all. You really
All right.
wanted to do
You
it.
knew that was the only chance you had.
That's right.
Guys, thanks for sitting down this morning. Thanks for